This is the best Hammer Jam ever because it includes cost and time reductions, which also applies to the laboratory, your pets, and your heroes. So let's tell you how to take advantage of the event before Town Hall 17 releases. Hammer Jam happens before a new Town Hall release so that you can progress your village, since there is a 50% reduction in both the cost and time of any upgrades in the home village. This year, it takes place from November the 8th up until November the 25th. So you have a good couple of weeks to make as much progress as possible. And before we get into the bulk of how to take advantage of the cost and time reductions, note that there is also a resource multiplier this year as well. So any resource collectors, that is your mines and pumps, will have 3 times the speed of production, but also 3 times the capacity. And this is massive. Not only does it help with passive generation of loot, it also means out in multiplayer, you can find huge loot raids. Like, you could find more than 6 million gold and elixir. And this is great because during Hammer Jam, everybody is active, trying to get as much loot as possible, so there will be more clouding as you're trying to find villagers, but it means that you might not have to next as long to find good loot raids, because even some of the lower offers might end up being 1 or 2 million. So needless to say, you should be able to keep your builders working, but let's tell you exactly how you want to do that. I'll give you a couple of broad scenarios in this video, but you will have to tailor your upgrades based on where you are in the game. Commonly, during Hammer Jam, people tend to save at least one builder to put excess loot into walls, since they are 50% cheaper, and walls tend to be very expensive at the highest level. They can be a grind, so you can knock out a lot of them by making sure you can just dump excess loot into walls. That might change slightly this year, because previously Hammer Jam has always only been a 50% reduction in cost. And this year, you obviously want to try and take advantage of the 50% time reduction. Whilst I will go over how to get the most out of Hammer Jam as a free-to-play player, if you are someone that spends money on the game, you can clearly accelerate your progress massively with some of these special offers. If you're purchasing those, remember you can support a creator beforehand by pressing the C in the top right and entering their code. My code is Judo, and it helps to support the channel massively. You can also purchase these on the Supercell store in order to earn in-game items such as gems, which will come in handy for Hammer Jam. I'll explain why in a moment. For you to understand how to get the most out of Hammer Jam, you need to understand how the 50% discount applies first. So if you have an upgrade that is 10 million gold and takes 10 days, with Hammer Jam it will be 5 million gold and 5 days. If you do have the gold pass and you have the 20% builder discount, this will also apply, but it will apply on the discounted price through Hammer Jam. So rather than being 5 million gold and 5 days, it would be decreased with the 20% discount to 4 million gold and 4 days. So whilst the 50% discount from Hammer Jam and the 20% from the gold pass do stack, they are applied after each other. So it's not like you get a 70% discount, it's more like 60. Needless to say though, for all players, this is a fantastic event. And whilst you might want to save a builder in order to put excess loot into walls, you might also just want to have all of your builders working if you are an active player and walls generally aren't that big of an issue for you. That means you can truly take advantage of the time reduction, but if you really want to get clever, you can combine potions to give you maximum value. Let's go over all of the useful magic items though, and I'll tell you what I'll be doing for Hammer Jam as well. Whilst depending on the magic items you have, you might want to use some of your books because they will allow you to take more advantage of the cost reduction. The time is not an issue when it comes to, let's say, a book of building, because whether it's a 5-day upgrade or a 10-day upgrade, your book would skip that time anyways. I would, though, potentially save some of your books for the end of the event. Let me explain why as we go through the potions. So a builder potion and a research potion are going to be super valuable during Hammer Jam, because unlike the books, the potions are able to take advantage of the time reduction without losing value. So if you have any potions during this event, make sure to use them, and I would even spend gems to get potions out of the trader shop, because essentially a builder potion is worth twice as much during this event since it's a 50% discount. And with CWL just finishing, in the Clan War League shop, just buy builder potions and research potions. Whether you think of them as half price or twice the value, it doesn't really matter. You really want to be using those throughout this event so that you can get as many upgrades done as possible. And how I will personally be doing this is I will be cycling through some of the cheaper and shorter upgrades first, because remember, the 50% discount applies for all upgrades. So whether you do a couple of shorter upgrades or one longer upgrade, it's 50% discount across them both. But what you do not want to do is upgrade the longer ones first. You want to leave those for right at the end of the event, because once you have started the upgrade, it will be applied. You wouldn't want to lock your builders up with the longest upgrades right at the start of the event. You might as well leave those until the end so you can maximize the amount of discount you get. So for me personally, I will probably keep a builder free so that I can put the excess loot into walls. I still think for most players that is going to be the best thing to do. But with that builder I am typically keeping free, before I go to sleep on a nighttime, I will try and assign him to a short upgrade and then pop 1 or 2 builder potions overnight so that in the morning when I get up, a builder is pretty much going to be finishing an upgrade. So he becomes free, and I can use it to dump excess loot into walls throughout the day, and I will rinse and repeat that for as long as I can, trying to save the longer upgrades for right at the end. They will probably be building upgrades, not heroes, because the building upgrades do tend to be longer in upgrade time. I would recommend trying to take advantage of the fact that heroes are involved with Hammer Jam this time around, because whilst they are not the longest upgrades, they do tend to be the most difficult to upgrade because Dark Elixir is arguably the most precious resource. So I would be trying to upgrade my heroes throughout the event, but then at the end, probably taking advantage of the greater time reduction, since resources you can always farm. But remember, even when it comes down to the time of upgrades, we know that with Town Hall 17, there will be some juicy cost and time reductions. We've already heard that from General Manager Stewart. So if you're a Town Hall 16, even if you're not fully maxed out and you plan to upgrade straight to Town Hall 17, I probably wouldn't use all of your books during the event, because you will need those once you get to Town Hall 17 if you want to get access to stuff straight away. But the builder and research potions I would absolutely use throughout the event, because they are going to get you the most value. Another thing to consider is where you are in the leagues. I touched upon this when Hammer Jam was first teased, but if you are in Legends League, you can only do 8 attacks per day. If you think you are going to be able to attack more than that, then I would definitely drop out of Legends League so that you can take advantage of the farming and just getting more loot, especially since we have the 3 times multiplier for resource-based buildings. It does mean that you can lose more on defense, so if you're not going to be super active, sitting in Legends might actually be a good thing, because you should still be able to get enough resources to keep your builders working from Legends League. But obviously, if you are planning, like most of us do, to upgrade your walls, then you would be limited in the amount of walls you could upgrade. I'll personally just be using the sneaky goblins to farm. I can easily get those 3 times boosted collectors on the outside of the base, punch in towards storages with the wall breakers as well. And I have found that in recent times, your league really doesn't matter too much. You should be able to find loot, even if you're gradually dropping down through the leagues. But with sneaky goblins, you can also snipe the town hall to try and maintain your trophy count as well, should you be wanting the ore from your star bonus. Obviously, everything I said with regards to building upgrades is also applied to the laboratory and the pet house. You clearly want to assure that whilst all of your builders are working, unless you're saving one for walls, but you want to make sure the lab is constantly working as well, which is where the research potions come in handy, and the pet house is constantly upgrading to take advantage of the discount, and clearly pet potions would be very valuable there as well. If you're not getting the message, clearly, this is the time to farm in Clash of Clans to make sure you get as much progress as possible before the release of Town Hall 17 when this event finishes. I will be bringing you the update sneak peek gameplay videos over on my main channel, breaking everything down so that you thoroughly understand what is releasing with Town Hall 17, but I will share my thoughts on everything here on this channel, with it being more discussion based. If you do enjoy this content, I've got another one of my videos linked on your screen. Enjoy Hammer Jam, and I will see you in the next video.